we're out here, we're in IIT Delhi, which is this college campus. We've got the sign, milk is non-veg, changed my mind. I truly believe that milk is not vegetarian, and I want someone to come and change my mind. We're outside an Amul shop, which Amul is this massive dairy company here in India, and they have these shops that serve ice cream and milk and different milk products, so it's a good place to stand. Got a lot of people watching, a lot of people looking, but no one's come over to try and change my mind yet. I'm hoping somebody's going to come over soon.
How do you feel?
I'm wondering if anyone's going to come and try and change my mind. A lot of people reading the sign whilst drinking milk. Welcome to the channel. So basically, as I've said, just explain now, we're discussing, debating the topic. I believe that milk is non-veg. And this gentleman, what was your name again?
Naveen.
Naveen?
Yes.
Okay. He's here to convince me why milk is veg. So if you want to start, you asked me a question. Right?
First, just tell me why milk is non-veg.
Okay, so for me, my personal opinion on this is that I'm not going by the definition of non-veg and veg, because the dictionary is pretty clear on that, right? So we're not doing dictionary definitions. Mine's more from the moral or ethical stance of a vegetarian. So a moral or ethical vegetarian is usually ethically or morally vegetarian because they disagree with animal suffering and cruelty. Most people are veg for that reason, right? How to get milk is full of suffering and exploitation to animals, to cows, to buffaloes. So for me, if by the definition of someone being veg for ethics or morals, milk is non-veg because it harms animals.
How can you say the buffaloes and cows are suffering while obtaining the milk?
Okay. So for a few reasons. So for one thing, they have to force them to become pregnant. So they'll force them to become pregnant by tying them up and either forcing them to have sex with a bull, or they'll do it by hand, using one hand inside their anus and another hand to inject semen inside them. When they have a baby, when they have the calf, they'll take the calf away from them because they want to take the milk. And even if all of that doesn't happen, we have to ask ourselves, if they are not free animals, because they're not free animals, right? So what's the opposite of freedom? It's like slavery, right? So they're slaves.
It's like we are giving some sort of unnatural kind of things, but this is giving just according to the myth, babies producing by some natural method. Mm-hmm. But we are using some forceful tactics to produce a natural baby.
So if you're saying if it's natural, then it would be
definitely it is natural, but the fact is that the process is quite unethical. It is not. It is not natural one.
And if the process was more natural, as you said, they still wouldn't be free, right? Because they're owned, right? People own them. You understand? So they're slaves. So even if it was a nice process, they're still slaves.
Actually, the fact is that the buffaloes and the cows, they store some sort of milk for their child. Yeah. And remaining they will give to the human being. Mm-hmm. So it's like a little amount of they will store for their child, and remaining amount it will free for anyone, those who wants to put it back and feed to the human being, like kind of things.
Could I ask you, do they give it to us or do we take it from them?
Definitely we are taking from it.
And is it? Do they want us to take it, or are we forcing them to give it to us?
If we wants to force it, then definitely they can jump over. But if they want to give us, they definitely keep out their places and give you the milk.
So you tell me, in the wild, so if you approached a wild cow, do you think they would let you take the milk?
But wild cow milk is not fit for the...
So you're right. Wild cows are not fit for any kind of human interaction. And the ones that we have, they are domesticated cows. Why are they domesticated? Because we domesticated them, we enslaved them, we made them ours, we own them. And that slavery is not ethical, right? I mean, we have to agree there. Surely we agree there.
It's not a slavery kind of things.
So what is it?
Like we have to keep a dog. Are you a dog lover?
I love all animals.
It's a pet animal. Na? You simply give respect to the pet animal, and it will revert back to the respect. Same we are doing with the cow and other buffaloes. We are giving the respect, and it will revert back the respect to us.
But sure, I understand the idea of mutual respect, but surely a mutual respect would not be to... If we truly respected the cow or buffalo, why would we not just care for them and not expect anything back from them? Because we care for dogs, but we don't expect their milk, do we? We don't take their milk from them.
And definitely, but in the case of dog, it's giving back its loyalty. It's like caretaker to our family.
So that's interesting. A caretaker, and I agree with you that we should be the caretakers for these animals. But whilst we are taking the milk from them and taking their baby's milk, that's not taking care of them. That's taking something that's not ours. We're using them.
Meanwhile, ago, I just told you, they store the required amount of milk for their baby, and remaining it is free. If it will not bring it back, then it will definitely ambiguously.
Could I ask you, what do you think is the reason that cows produce more milk than they need to? Why do they produce more milk? Why is there leftover milk?
Definitely for their child, they require a little bit. It's their capacity only.
Okay.
2 to 3 liter months.
It depends upon the cow. And you'll hear a lot of people saying that when the cow has fed their babies, there is leftover milk. Now, tell me, does evolution make mistakes? Does nature make mistakes? Because that's a mistake. You know, to produce too much milk in the wild, that could be fatal. That could kill a cow. But the domesticated cows, a lot of them produce too much milk. Do you think that's natural, or do you think humans did that?
Definitely, it's a human will do some sort of mutual hybridization.
Yeah, exactly. We selectively breed them to make sure we have the ones that produce the most milk, and we also inject them with hormones so they produce more milk. You know, again, we're talking about the ethics here.
But earlier in the time, people don't use this kind of techniques. Earlier times, they don't use this kind of techniques.
Maybe you're right. Earlier times, and but also now, in earlier times,
as the population increases, the consumption of milk is increases, and definitely they are using some sort of unnatural techniques to increase the production of milk.
And what do you think in earlier times? What do you think was the reason that people consumed milk in earlier times?
In earlier times, people have less population, so they didn't use this kind of hybridization technique.
And why were they consuming it? Like what was the reason people would consume milk in early times? What do you think it is?
In early times, in the present time, the milk is the source of all vitamins, minerals.
Sure.
So people using milk for their basic fulfillment of their nutrients.
Absolutely, because in earlier times we didn't have the same education as now. People would have drank milk out of necessity. Be honest with me, what do you think is the reason people drink milk now? Is it the same reason as then, or is it something different?
It's the same reason.
Necessity?
Yeah.
So with today's technology and today's knowledge, you think we still have to have it? There's no other option?
Yes, definitely we have some other alternatives. But still, it is the mentality of the people that milk is the source of all kind of vitamins, minerals. So still they are consuming kind of things.
Yeah. Which vitamins do you think are in milk that are so important? Like which minerals, which vitamins, what do you think is so nutritious about milk?
Calcium is there.
Calcium? It's one thing, yeah.
Calcium, everything is there. But except I think iron is not available in the milk.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Except iron, everything is available in the milk.
And are there other places we can get the same vitamins and minerals?
I don't think so. There is any other food is there from where you can get all the vitamins and minerals.
Oh, okay. So I would look. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. You know, I can't give you this. Any information I tell you now, you need to go and check yourself. But let me tell you that the calcium content of milk is not that high. The protein content of milk is not that high. All right, there are other alternatives. Regardless of that fact, though, what we're discussing here, back to the point again, why is it non-veg? So for me, again, so far you've not convinced me. My stance is still that it's non-veg because the act of simply taking milk from a cow, no matter how well you care for the cow, is exploiting the cow.
Actually, the fact is that your point is something different. Your point, you are on the page of suffering of the cow and buffaloes, but it doesn't mean that its milk is non-veg.
Sure, they don't. Yeah, my point is they don't have to necessarily be suffering. I mean, they can be suffering, and a lot of them do suffer. But also, it's the fact that they're exploited in the first place. The fact that we're stealing from them. They don't want to give us anything, but we're taking it by force. If they don't give it to us, we will take it by force. We will do anything we can to get it from them. You know, so they're slaves because they're not free, and they have no choice. We take it, or we hit them, and then we take it. You know, so that's why for me it's non-veg, because for example, meat and eggs, we see those as non-veg because the animal is harmed and because the animal is exploited. Well, the animals are harmed and exploited for milk as well at different levels. Okay, maybe in some places it's not as harsh, but in other places it is. And in the majority of places, the things I described to you, the unnatural that you said, you know, tying them up, hitting them, injecting them, that is normal. In India and in the entire world, that is normal. That is what's happening, you know?
That is happening in the world, actually. I agree with you.
Yeah. So that's why I think it's non-veg. And I'm sorry, but you've not convinced me. You've not changed my mind. I still think it's non-veg.
Your point is actually, I agree with you.
Okay.
Your point is right, actually. Now the people harnessing these kind of animals for the milk. But I agree with you, but I don't think so. The process of producing milk is natural, actually.
Yeah.
The way by which it's produced, the way by which it is made in its internal body, it is natural.
Sure.
But we are using some sort of unnatural technique to harness the milk.
And what's interesting is you mentioned natural a few times, and a natural is
the process of making milk inside its body.
Yeah.
It is natural.
Sure, the process of a cow making milk for their own calves is 100% natural. The process of a human taking that milk as an adult and drinking it, it's, you know, let's think about what milk is. It's bovine growth fluid. It's cow growth fluid or buffalo growth fluid. And we as adult humans are breastfeeding from a cow or buffalo. You know, you talk about natural, that's about the most unnatural thing that we can do, really, you know? So aside from it being unethical, it's also very strange. You know, there's no denying that. I mean, once you look at it, please don't judge me here. I was vegetarian for 19 years, yeah? So please trust me, I've been there, and I used to say the same things like, oh, it's whatever, it's milk, it's normal. And, you know, one day I just thought to myself, what am I doing? Like, I'm drinking breast milk from another animal. Like, and I don't even know who the animal is. It could be some animal from like 2 hours away. It could be an animal from 10 hours away, you know, and we're so disgusted by human breast milk. But that's natural. That's our breast milk. Isn't that strange? You don't think that's strange? That's a very weird concept, a very weird scenario we're in as humans.
I didn't got your question, actually.
So it's do you think it's a weird thing that we are disgusted by human breast milk as adults? We are disgusted. We think human breast milk is horrible. And if a woman in this campus came over and said, hey, you want to drink my breast milk? You would say no. No. But if somebody brought some cow's milk over, you would drink it without a question. But that came from a female cow's breasts, and we will drink it without questioning it.
Yes, definitely.
I think it's quite strange.
For the human, I don't have any much idea. But
it's weird though, yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
because Kilita, the fact is that it's like the woman that who used to feed the milk to her baby.
Yeah.
It's like it is only suited for her baby only.
Yeah.
Because there is some sort of biological connection between mother and baby is there.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Milk. If you drink milk of some woman, then it's harm to your body.
But that's what we're doing to the cows.
But in case of cows and buffaloes, the milk is it's fit for human, actually.
Is it?
Yeah. Definitely.
So wait, you're telling me human breast milk is not fit for humans, but cow breast milk
for
is?
Everyone. I'm just saying it is fit for. I'm just saying it is fit for only for the mother and its child only.
So and you that's because of evolution, right? Because the human breast milk is for a human baby.
Yes.
A cow or buffalo's breast milk is for a cow or buffalo baby. It's not for an adult human.
No, it is for human also.
Why would evolution and nature design a cow's milk for a human adult?
Because human body is capable enough to accumulate and to harness the nutrients from the cow milk.
Sure, we can harness nutrients from many things, but that doesn't mean that they're designed for us, does it?
But still, it is going on from very past of the time. So,
sure, but okay, so it's because it's happened for a long time. And then we said earlier, that's because there was a necessity. People had no choice. They either drank milk and ate milk products or they were suffering. But that's not where we are today. You've got an Amul shop here, but you've also got other shops all around. We're in the centre of Delhi. We can all choose not to participate, right? We have that decision to make today. So it's not quite the same as the past, is it? You know? Would you agree, or am I crazy?
No. I'm agree with you, but I'm just saying. Your point is milk is non-veg.
Yeah.
I'm quite is not agree with it.
Okay.
I'm just agree with the process. I'm just agree with your point that whatever you are saying, just a process of producing milk harnessing the milk from the cow is quite unnatural. I'm just agreeing with it.
Yeah.
But milk is non-veg. It is quite unnatural.
So I mean, non-veg, and there's another point here to think about. Milk is non-veg. Well, it's an animal product. Why are eggs non-veg?
Who says egg is non-veg?
Do you not believe that? You don't. Many people in India.
Science says egg is vegetarian, veg.
Egg is veg. So some people believe it is, and some people believe it isn't. Right?
Yes.
So okay, why is meat non-veg? Why is animal flesh non-veg?
Because they contain some sort of unnatural fat that you cannot obtain from any other source of living body.
Because animal flesh has a certain fat, it makes it non-veg.
Definitely.
That's what you're getting at. So because it has animal fat, basically.
And because of animal fat, they contain some sort of those kind of things which you cannot obtain naturally from other sources. So they are acting like a non-veg. One more thing, when you kill someone, because the process of making non-veg is killing someone.
Okay, because the process kills someone. And what if I told you that the process of getting milk often kills baby calves because they don't get enough milk and they starve and die of illnesses and...
In some cases, it's true, but not in the majority of the cases.
Sure, but it does happen. So does that not automatically make it non-veg? Because it does happen, like it actually happens, and it's not as rare as you might think. It's quite common actually. These dairy farms, they have an accepted amount of deaths they're allowed to have of babies.
Actually, I don't have to do any kind of survey in dairy.
Sure, I've been to them. I'm telling you, you can believe me or not believe me. I've been to these farms. I've asked the farmers, the owners, and they've told me. Okay, yeah, sure.
Feeling a lot of.
Yeah, it's quite hot here. Yeah. So I've asked some dairy people and people who work on the dairies, and I asked them how do you stop these calves from dying? And they said it's just part of the job. Some of them die, some of them live. So they accept that some babies will die. So then, does that not make it non-veg automatically by your logic, by your definition?
Actually, the fact is that we are not. It is getting killed. It is getting natural kill, or it is getting killed.
They're dying because of malnutrition and because of illness. Because the farm or the whatever you want to call it, they don't have enough money, or they don't want to keep many of them alive because they're not useful if they're sick. So they'll just let them die.
If it is like female cow and male cow, if it is a male cow, then they definitely leave it. They leave it and kill it. But if it is the female cow, then definitely they'll look after her.
It depends. If either of them are sick, sometimes if they get sick because they don't have enough milk, because they're taking the milk from them. Okay, so when they get sick, they can decide either I'm going to try and save this sick cow or I'm going to let them die. And they let a lot of them die because it costs too much money to keep them healthy. And remember, these people created the cows, so they bred them into existence, and then they are now killing them off. And it's for the milk industry, not the meat industry. It's milk. This is only milk. And some of the baby cows, some of the males are sent into the meat industry to be killed for meat also. So there is death here. There's a lot of death in that industry. So then by that logic, it's non-veg. By that logic, right? Because they're dying and they're being killed for meat as well.
Yeah, they are killing. People used to eat the beef. Lots of beef has been consumed all over the world. They're killing.
Yeah, India is the largest exporter of beef in the world, and you think it comes from dairy as well. It comes from these places because they send the males. So then it would be non-veg, right?
But milk, how can you say the milk is non-veg?
Because milk is this whole industry is what I've just said to you. Like baby calves die, the mothers are exploited, and a lot of them are sent to the meat industry. This entire industry is a non-veg industry.
Earlier in you can say 200 years, 300 years ago, people don't used to eat, in India, especially in India, they don't used to eat beef.
Yeah.
They only used to keep the cows and buffaloes for the milk purpose only.
Yeah.
They keep buffaloes and cow in their home as a pet animal.
Yeah.
But as the time increases, now the consumption of milk increases.
Yeah.
As the population increases.
Yeah.
Now with the feed, as the feed increases, they used to sell the flesh of the cows and buffaloes.
There's no denying that before it might have been better or less bad. Before it was less bad. It was not as bad. Of course, like that's for sure. But the one we're not talking about before, we're talking about right now. And right now I'm saying it's non-veg. And for the reasons that I've said, and you haven't changed my mind.
No, actually, the fact is that your point is true. Actually,
Yeah.
people used to harness the animal for the purpose of milk.
Yeah.
I'm agree with you, but I'm not agree with the the difference between veg and non-veg. Veg is obtained from the natural one,
Right.
and non-veg is also from natural, but you have to kill someone.
So it's natural stuff now. Well, what is natural about breeding an animal, taking the baby away from them, getting them pregnant, taking their baby away, then taking their milk and giving it to an adult human?
Actually, I don't know about the industry kind of things, but when you used to see the people around there who used to keep the animal for their purpose only, they used to feed the baby to the milk also.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in the case of in dairy farm, I don't know what their scenario.
Yeah.
But when you used to see, there are lots of places there where you can see the people used to keep animal as their pet animals.
Sure.
They used to keep. They used to feed baby first. They used to feed baby to the milk of the cow.
Yeah.
Once the baby finished, they go for the cow to bring its milk.
So how is that an argument for the milk to be veg though? Like what are we getting at here? Do you think that makes it natural? Is that what you're saying? That makes it natural?
Actually, once you feed your baby, baby stomach is full, then it's still there remaining amount of milk is there. From there you can capture. From there you can harness it.
You're talking about the cow feeds their baby and then we take the rest. Is that what you're saying? And we talked about this earlier, right? Why is that cow creating too much milk? Because we humans have designed the cow to do that.
Cow is quite big, and they have that much of capacity.
Right.
So,
but not in the wild, not in nature. In nature, a cow would not produce too much milk.
2 and 3 liters is, I think, it is a natural one.
But in the wild, they would not produce too much milk for their babies. We created them to produce too much milk.
But they are using hybrid kind of techniques.
Yeah, we use techniques to create them. Yeah, and that is unethical. We have played God. We've created these monsters that produce too much milk, and we're taking their milk from them.
How can you say it is unethical? Now people are using some DNA manipulation. They are just doing some sort of manipulation to improve their life.
Sure, consent. Because if I ask you, so okay, would you like me to make you stronger? And you said yes, and then I made you stronger. You consented. You said, here is your permission. Please make me stronger. These cows never asked for this. And they don't want to be injected and operated on and tested and kept in laboratories and made into milk machines. They're animals. They just want to live. They have consciousness like you and me. They have families. They have feelings. They have pain. They have sadness. They're just like you and me. So that's why it's unethical.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because a cow is one of the most sensitive animals.
They're definitely one of the more sensitive animals, and they're intelligent, and they especially have families. They really have families they love. So, yeah.
No, yes.
Can I just pause you for 1 second and just check something? Is that still filming?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay. Sorry, it's a bit funny sometimes. Yeah. So yeah, I guess unless you want to add something else, or you've not succeeded to change my mind, and I think maybe I've not changed yours, but maybe at least I see you thinking about it at least.
The fact is that what my understanding says, your point is related to some harnessing of animal in a natural way. Your point is.
My point is harnessing. My point is harnessing an animal at all is unethical. Whether it's natural or more unnatural. Just the idea of harnessing an animal, taking them out of their habitats and using them, I see that as unethical. That's why I would say it's non-veg to do that. It's a non-veg process. It's a non-veg industry, and it's a non-veg product.
Harnessing animal is a wrong thing. Actually, it is quite unethical.
Completely,
I agree with you.
Okay.
But. Now, from very beginning, just I earlier mentioned, from very beginning, people used to feed the animal for the milk purpose. So, but now, just I told you that now they are, with the population increases, now they are using some sort of inaccurate technique to revolutionise the milk production.
Yeah. There's going to be many more of these advancements, and to try and make this more profitable and more milk from the cows, and whether it's done in that way you said earlier, which many people think is really beautiful and natural and organic, or whether it's done in this horrible machine way, it's still unethical either way. It's all unethical, because we are taking an animal, like I said, out of their natural habitat, domesticating them, and then using them and exploiting them and oppressing them, because they become our slaves. Whether we like that word or not, it's what they are. They're our slaves. We oppress them. We make them do what we want them to do, and they don't have any choice.
I would like to say you.
Okay.
Milk is a non-veg. I'm not actually convinced with it.
All right.
The fact is that you have to change your point a little bit, that
I still think it's non-veg though.
Harnessing of an animal for a milk is a non-veg process.
Absolutely, yeah, and that produces a non-veg product.
If you write milk is a non-veg, then it is quite.
All right, okay. I see your point. Yeah. We can leave it on that. I think. Yeah, that's a good thing. Well, thanks so much anyway. And you've been very open-minded, which I didn't expect for the first conversation. So I'm going to try and turn this around so I can shake your hand and whatever. Okay.
It's my pleasure to meet
thanks
you.
so much. Nice to meet you, man. Okay. But there's a lot of resources here. So if you go here, there's some really nice videos you can watch to learn more about this idea, this concept, and what I'm talking about. So what we've been discussing here as well, it's what veganism is, like vegans, or vegan, I don't know what you call it. So veg, obviously.
Yes.
So a vegan or vegan, however you pronounce it, is I'll hold it up. Is somebody who. A vegan is somebody who doesn't eat anything or use anything from an animal. So no milk, no leather, no meat, no eggs, no honey, because vegans, we believe that it's all unethical, as I said, because harnessing and using animals for anything is unethical. So you can learn more about this here and why it's unethical and what is the reason people do this. There's many resources there for you. There's a good few videos about health as well if you're interested in health. Down here, forks over knives. You've got Earthlings is very powerful. Cowspiracy. Basically, if you go and find any of these on YouTube and have a little watch, you'll definitely find out some more information about this, and it could help expand on what we've talked about today.
So, what is the solution for it?
For milk?
Is there an alternative?
To milk, yeah, absolutely. We can have either other types of milk where you can get things like soya milk or rice milk or oat milk. You can make them yourself, which is actually really easy. You just need water, oats, and a blender, and you can make oat milk. You just blend it together, then use put it through a cloth, strain it. Or in terms of the nutrition, there's many alternatives out there for like calcium, but honestly, there's too many to even list. Like even sesame seeds have a lot of calcium, and spinach has a lot of calcium. So calcium is not just a milk thing.
Yes,
Protein, you get lentils, chickpeas. Tofu is awesome. Tofu is 50 rupees for 200 grams. It's so cheap, and you get so much protein in that. You buy it from everywhere. Or soya paneer it's called. Soya paneer.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really good, man, and it's kind of like cheese as well. It's kind of like paneer. So yeah, I mean the links I've given you there as well will help with that. There's definitely a lot of information on where to get the different nutrition and stuff. You can go. Let's have a look.
Vegas29.com.
The vegan22.com. Yeah, check that out. That's a really good.
And what's your
link.
name, Doctor?
My name's Dave. I can put it in your phone if you want. We can. Yeah. That's. All right. Cool. You can stop. You can donate.